Guys, welcome back to another episode of the MFC Approach podcast. Very happy and excited to be here today, guys, with first a friend. I'll say that because he was a friend before anything else, and then also a former client. So really grateful. Nick Larson is our guest today. Nick, thank you so much for being here, man. Really appreciate you.
Yeah, man, you bet. It's awesome.
So Nick is a car guru, and he knows more about cars than anyone else that I know. He is a husband, a father to two little boys, as well as an entrepreneur. He owns his own business. And in parentheses here, Nick, I put he owns a car detailing business because the detailing was where the quotes come in. Because I know I say that, but I know that that is not how you describe your business. And so anyways, I would love for you to describe your business a little bit more to us real quick.
Yeah, you got it, man. It's funny to say that because I do kind of give people a hard time on that sometimes, but it's good. So I basically I call ourselves automotive reconditioning specialists. And the reason I say that is because we really don't deal with a lot of, filthy, disgusting cars. We have a lot of different training and different techniques than other detailers would use, right? So, I mean, because we've actually been to an automotive reconditioning school, been trained and certified, like all that stuff, right? So, like for me, they tell you there, like you're not a detailer, you're an automotive reconditioning specialist because of how you understand interior, exterior surfaces, how to recondition them, protect them, all that stuff, right? So,
yeah,
not to get too crazy on it, but just a little bit of explanation. That's what we offer. Yeah, we do that. We also offer like vinyl wraps, ceramic coating, PPF, like a lot of other services too, which is a lot of fun. So we get to help people customize their cars too, which to me is super fun.
That's awesome. I actually saw the rims you did. Was it a truck you did those rims on
the
other day?
Jeep. Yeah, Jeep.
Oh, Jeep. Cool. Yeah. No, it's awesome. If you guys, if you're interested at all in what Nick does, even if you don't live in the northern Utah area, like his Instagram page is fun to just watch and see and follow. So at the end, Nick will be sure to share all that with everybody who's listening. So,
Cool.
anyways, I really appreciate you being here again, man. But I want to start out how I normally do with all of my guests. And I want the audience listening to get a better understanding about who you are, and kind of where you come from and what your current situation is, if you don't mind sharing as much or as little detail as you want.
Yeah, man, for sure. No, I love it. Thanks. Appreciate it. So, I mean, obviously I'm almost, and I say almost like 15 days, I'll be 38. So I'll be 38 years old, right? And I guess, born and raised in northern Utah, up here in Logan, and mainly where I've lived most of my life. I did live in Colorado for a little bit, but yeah, just about me. I mean, I guess I was thinking about this as we were getting ready to do this podcast because I think it does blend in really well to having that mindset of willing to like change or just become your best version of yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll just mention it really briefly, but like I have been through like an addiction recovery program, and I really feel like that program is what changed my life the most and gave me the ability to want to be a different person. Awesome. I mean, in every way, right? Just be a better business owner, be a better husband, father, like just a better person, a better guy. And then doing this, it helped me a lot because I was able to apply a lot of those things to this same approach. Awesome. Right, with you. And so like it helped me to be able to do all that.
Yeah. So this meaning just like your transformation and your journey into a healthier, more fit life. That's kind of what you were referring to there, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. Cool, man. Well, thank you for sharing. Yeah. One thing I do admire about Nick, guys, is that he is an open book, and I've seen Nick talk to, groups of youth and different individuals about his process through addiction recovery. And every time, man, like I have all the respect in the world for you. First time I ever met you, like that was the first thing I ever heard you talk about, and it was in church, and you were sharing an experience you had, and I was just like, man, this dude just wears it all on his sleeve. And that's what I love about Nick. He's an open book and is willing to share his experiences that he's had with anybody. So, which, speaking of, you've also been very willing to kind of share your experience that you've had with Madsen Fit Coaching, and your
Yeah.
experience with me and the process of going through adjusting and improving your lifestyle, which I'm very appreciative of. I mean, you guys have probably seen the posts that I've, or you either follow Nick and have seen them, or you've seen the posts that I've reshared from him. But just really, really grateful for the willingness to share, man, because truly it's people like you who I feel like can speak best to other people, you know, who were or are in the situation you were in. And so ultimately, I want to just ask Nick, like, what got you to the point where you said, okay, like enough is enough. Like I'm gonna make a change. I'm gonna improve my health.
Yeah, man. So this is kind of funny, like, but it was almost a year ago, right? Because I've hit my year mark, but
Yeah. Yep.
we were in St. George on vacation over spring break, and I remember seeing a lot of your videos on Instagram and being like, well, like you're ripped, right? And so I was like, that's sweet. And I'm like, I
I
want to be ripped
appreciate
like
that.
that, right? Like I want to be ripped. And then like I started looking at myself in the mirror, and I was like, most of my life, Luke, and you know this, like I've been good about taking care of myself physically, and I say it with quotations in the fact that like I exercised, but I wasn't good about taking care of myself physically in the way that I ate, the
Mm-hmm.
way that I had the right kind of calories I was having the intake on, right, the right kind of protein, all that stuff, and that stuff was always a like mind-boggling to me. I didn't know where to go with it. I didn't know how to start with it. I didn't know how to get any information because I felt like whoever I asked always gave me different answers. So I was like, which one's right? And so like when I
Yeah.
started following your stuff, you had this really basic like form of like, if you do this, this is it. And like, it just really resonated well with me. Right. So here I was standing in a mirror in a hotel room being like, I don't like how I look. Like, I know I can look better than this. And with that, I know that'll also make me be a stronger person, right? To be there for my family. I mean, whether it's to just be with them, right? And enjoy like things with them, or it's to defend them, like whatever that might be. I just know
Mm-hmm.
it gives me more confidence in all those ways. And honestly, like no matter what anyone wants to say, for me personally, it's like you feel more confident as a person if you have a nicer body. That's just the end result. And so
It's undeniable.
yeah, it really is. And so like that confidence boost it gives you in life is like peaceful. Like really,
Mm-hmm.
it's happiness, it's joy. It's not a sense of pride and arrogancy, right? It's just that you feel joy.
Right.
So
And it's not I mean, I think it can get to a point where it is vain, right? You become
yeah,
obsessive about it. But the bottom line is like there is absolutely nothing wrong with wanting to look your best, because I don't know, I don't want to get too into the weeds here, but it's like I just feel like society has led us to believe that, we're okay just the way we are, no matter how that is. And honestly, I'm like, to an extent, yeah, sure. To an extent, you are great just the way you are, but there's also a lot of potential within you to be better. And that, in my opinion, is like why we're on this earth. Like we are here to grow and improve and unlock like our full potential. Like
yeah,
truly, I know that's kind of like my business catchphrase, like unlock your full potential, but I truly believe that with all my heart. Like that is why we're here, and not just physically, but to unlock our full potential mentally and as a husband and as a father. And I mean, in every single way, like that's why we're here. So I love that, man. I have posted maybe once or twice too on Instagram, just encouraging people to do exactly what you did, to stand in front of a mirror with your shirt off and look yourself in the eye and honestly ask yourself, are you happy and okay with how you are? Because again, man, when you're looking yourself in the eye, it's kind of
mm,
hard to lie to yourself.
yep,
So anyways, man, thank you so much for sharing that. I love it.
yeah,
So I'm curious, Nick, I obviously you and I know what the process of going through this was like. I think we worked together for, was it a little over 7 months? I'm trying to
yeah,
remember.
around there, 7 to 8 or something like that. Yeah,
Yeah, I probably was closer to 8, but I just want to ask you, like, what was the process like for you? And I guess what were some of the most challenging parts that you had to go through?
Yeah. So, for me personally, I feel like the most challenging parts for me, obviously the overall process, once I kind of got my feet wet and I started getting in this like little bit of routine after I would say maybe the first 2 to 3 months, like it started to flow nicely. But
Hmm.
the hardest thing for me was the eating,
Yeah.
right? Like I just gotten so used to just eating. And I honestly came to the realization, and I've shared this with you before, but like that I was eating just to eat, but I also was kind of using it as a way to check out in life,
Yeah.
right? Or just to like enjoy myself in a certain way, or kind of use it as an excuse.
Kind of
And
cope,
then,
right?
yeah, yeah, exactly. And then like I felt like, and then I did actually, I never told you this. Maybe I'll just share it real quick. But I did find this one person on Instagram once, and it was interesting because their philosophy was like, well, you just need to eat more food, and if you're exercising, like you're gonna bulk up, right? So I started eating more food, and then I felt like that's where some of my weight came from, right? I'm like,
Hmm.
well, obviously this didn't work because here I am just piling my mouth full of food, and it's like, well,
Yeah.
is that good nutritious food for the most part, right? Like
Hmm.
I'm sure you've shared this on here before, but I love your 80-20 rule, right? Like
Yeah.
I live by that now. And honestly, like me and my wife were just talking the other day because I don't remember what we were doing. I think we had gone out to eat and we were just satisfied. Like we didn't want any more. So we just like put our food, the rest of our food away and took it home. Right. And I was like, and that was like, and we both just like looked at each other and we're like, well, we're just satisfied. Like, because we eat so much more healthy now that we're not just shoveling food in our mouths.
Yeah.
So I feel like, but for me, that was the hardest part, man. Like, it was super hard for me to
Yeah.
get a grasp on understanding, okay, I need to meal prep and I need to be eating more whole foods. And then not that I can't enjoy some of the foods I still did, but they don't need to be as common and as often as I was once eating them.
Yeah. I love, so a couple of things there, Nick, I just want to highlight. First was you said, about 2 to 3 months in is when you kind of hit your groove. Um, I'm sure everybody has heard it. It takes 21 days to build a habit, right?
Yeah.
And I'm trying to remember where I read this, but that has actually been proven to be false. Like it takes actually a lot longer than that. Instead of
Yeah.
3 weeks, it's about 3 months. So it's like closer to 90 days to build a habit. And so I thought that was interesting that you
Crazy.
just mentioned that just barely, because it truly was. I remember, man, like at that 2.5 3 month mark, it did seem like things just kind of all of a sudden kind of just like got set in place, and it was just like habit. It was just instinct. It was what you did on a daily basis.
Yeah.
um and I remember the conversations we had about eating more whole foods. I was looking at your diary, your food diary in
Yeah.
my fitness pal, and I remember making those comments of like, hey man, you're doing great. You're hitting your calories, you're hitting your protein. Let's take it to the next level, right? Let's take it to
Yeah.
the next level, eat more whole foods and more single ingredient foods. And it's crazy, man. I remember so specifically like how much that changed everything. Like the fat loss started to happen a lot quicker and a lot better. And yeah, man, I don't know. It's really cool to just kind of reflect on that and see how the implementation, of some of these very basic principles of nutrition, um, ultimately like just change things pretty dramatically. Um, and I appreciate you sharing that earlier too, man, because nutrition can be complicated depending on who you're listening to, but
Yeah.
it truly is simple, guys. I mean, I say it all the time, right? Calories and protein. Like focus on your calories and protein and everything else will take care of themselves. I'm curious, Nick, are you still doing that? Because so it's been how many months?
Or
5 months
almost
since
5. Yeah.
we've communicated on a weekly basis. I mean, we still communicate, but like, has anything changed for you since then?
Nope, nothing's changed, man. Like, and
Uh,
I'm still hitting around like the same weight that we left me off at. That were like, how you helped me lead with a maintenance and all that kind of stuff. Like, still hitting that. Like, I might have like a week or something like that where you just feel like a little bit off, but you just readjust, and it's like I don't know, man. It's completely life changing, and I think for me, like I love those experiences. I know some people don't love life-changing experiences because there's a lot of change you have to do, right? And it can be really hard. And
mhm.
change is hard. Let's just be honest. Like it
It
really is
is.
hard, but
Yeah.
it's also one of the most rewarding things in my opinion. because it really brings you to know like who you really are, what your capabilities are, that you're much greater and worth more than you ever thought you were. And
Hmm.
it's like that's way more than worrying about how hard the change is, in my opinion.
Yeah,
So
man.
like I haven't changed anything, right? I'm still doing
Love
like
it.
about 4 days of workout, about for 45 minutes each day. I mean, I have a very active job anyway, but I'm
Hmm.
trying to stay active, more active on those days like Saturdays, Sundays where I'm not moving as much, at least getting up and moving, playing with my
Yeah.
kids or going on a walk. Now that the weather's getting nice, I use it as an excuse, but I love to be out in the sun, dude, right? Like it's so much more
Yep.
fun to be outside than when it's freezing to death. So
Yeah. Oh man, I had a thought I was gonna. Dang it. Dang it. Dang it.
kept
I
going,
hate when that
kept rambling
happens.
on.
No, it was all great. It was really good. So I appreciate you sharing all that. Oh, I was thinking, I think this is what it was. We probably should have done this at the very beginning, but I'm curious, would you mind, Nick, just sharing, like from start to finish, your time with me? Like what was the overall transformation? I mean, we can talk metrics, like what did your body weight go from?
I think it was around like 208, 209, somewhere in there, right?
Hmm.
And I came all the way down. I think the lowest I ever got to, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it was like 173.
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
man.
then and so what are you sitting at now?
I sit right around about 184 to 185.
Perfect, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I
I
mean,
love it.
just to kind of clarify, I mean, yeah, we did do a massive fat loss phase,
Yeah.
um, and lost a ton of body fat, and then when we came back up, to a maintenance level, naturally you just kind of put on a few pounds, but now eating at that maintenance too, it's like, and consistently doing the resistance training and lifting and stuff, it's like, yeah, you're just building more muscle and doing more of a body recomposition, right? Like you
Yeah.
continue to lose the fat and build more muscle. So I love it, dude. Um, like what other metrics? I mean, whether they be, numerical metrics or um, what's the word I'm looking for? Just metrics that maybe we can't measure as clearly. Like what else would you say was the biggest transformation you experienced?
I mean, obviously the fat loss, right? But that's not really going off what you're saying. But this is an interesting one. I think I shared this to you a little bit but I noticed just something very simple. I
Hmm.
remember one day I was at my work and I needed to climb up in the back of a bed of a truck, and I had been doing those the step ups, right? So like step up on a higher box and just pushing myself all the way up. And I remember it like not even being hard. It's kind of funny, but it's like, dude, I'm like this is applying into life now
Yeah,
where I'm not, it doesn't hurt or like it's not really uncomfortable or awkward. It was like I was more flexible and I
love
had
it.
more strength, right? So it's very simple, right? And you can't really measure that, but it was a really win-win moment where I feel a lot of times at work now, I feel a lot more loose and flexible because I feel like personally because my muscles are being exercised more regularly, and I'm getting the proper amount of protein, right, to build them. I mean, we could sit here and talk all day, right? Like it's awesome for me. But
Yeah.
anyway, I don't know if does that answer your question.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. That I think that is probably, I mean, I think that alone right there, Nick, is probably a much better, you know, metric of success than, I mean, even the number on the scale, right? Like
Yeah.
actually being able to apply it to your daily life. It's like, holy cow, how awesome is that?
Yep.
Um, right on, dude. Well, I have one more just kind of question I want to ask you, and this is I kind of want you to talk to anyone that's listening who might hear this. But what would you give as your best advice to someone who has been wanting to turn their life around and wanting to prioritize their health, but just haven't been able to pull the trigger for whatever reason? What would you say to that person?
And I'd probably look at him and say, like, A, you just need to do it, right? You need to stop making the excuses. You just need to do it. And B, like, I know this is going to come across sounding kind of, I think, a little weird, but like, stop caring what others think. Because I do think that in this process, like, some people feel like, I don't know, I'm trying to figure out how to word it, but they almost feel like because you're going after a nicer body and you're eating healthier and yada, 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 like that you're somehow going to be better than other people. I don't know if that kind of comes across sound the right way,
Yeah.
but I think some people get in the like feeling of, well, the rest of society lives this way. It's okay. And
Hmm.
it's like, well, okay, if you want to be like everyone else, yeah, that is okay. But if you want to, like you said, be your best version of yourself, well, then let's do something different. So if I was to look at someone and say that, I would say, like, what do you want out of your life? Do you want to be a person who lives longer, who as they live, they have more ability and more freedom because they are in shape and they have more energy and they eat things that make them feel more full, right? Like for me personally, that was one of the biggest things I noticed when I started eating more whole food. I mentioned earlier with my wife is like we get more full. Our energy stays longer because the food lasts longer with you throughout the day. So you're not as hungry. And like
Yeah.
I told you before, I work a really physically demanding job, so it's like that's very important to me. So I don't know if that answers the question, but I would totally tell people like you need to stop making the excuse, man, and just do it, right? Because that's the only way it's ever going to happen. I feel like that's the biggest thing in life is we get held back so much by, well, is the timing right or is this right or that right? We can sit there and say that all day long, but you eventually got to get to the point where it's like, no, I just want to do, like, I want to make a change. I want to be better.
Yeah. And I love it. I love it. Stop caring what other people think, right?
Yep.
And it's funny because that sounds so backwards. Like why is it that as soon as somebody wants to make a healthy decision, all of a sudden it's like everybody wants to turn into a nutritionist or give them their opinion on the matter when it's like, hold on a second. Like
Right.
you had no opinion before when I was treating my body like crap. How come you all of a sudden have an opinion now? So
Yeah.
anyways, I love that, Nick. Thank you so much.
Yeah, man.
Stop worrying about what other people think. But guys, I'm so grateful again for Nick being here today, and truly just feel so blessed and lucky to have had the opportunity to kind of go through the process with you, Nick, and give you all the credit in the world, man, because honestly, dude, I don't think that my job is that difficult. I mean, once you sit down and learn the principles and stuff, of nutrition and fitness, it's like it's relatively simple. What's really challenging is when a person like you who's trying to change their life starts implementing these things. It really does become, challenging. It does, because you're changing your life. And so I just give all the credit to you and all of my other clients and anybody for that matter who has been brave enough to take this challenge on and to improve themselves, because it really is a matter of you versus you and making the tough decisions on a daily basis, to make the change that is going to be lasting and sustaining. So appreciate you, man. Really do.
You bet.
I want to just say one more thing too. I was going to say this earlier. This actually might have been the thought that I was trying to remember earlier, but guys, discomfort comes whether you like it or not. And it comes in all different kinds of shapes and sizes and situations. So really, you get to make the choice. Like, are you going to be productive with that discomfort, or are you going to be unproductive with it? And Nick and so many others, I love how productive, you were with that discomfort that initially comes with, wanting to make a change, actually making a change, and then sticking to it. The discomfort, I will say, shifts probably, and maybe, I don't know, lightens up a little bit, but
Yeah.
but it definitely comes at different times. Like, I'm sure you have felt discomfort, throughout this process in different ways, but you just continue to push through and choose the productive discomfort, right, over the unproductive discomfort. So
Oh, yeah.
anyways, man, thank you so much, Nick. It's seriously a pleasure to have you on, and I appreciate you sharing your experience and story with everybody.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me. It's been fun.
You bet, dude. Okay, guys. For now, that is it. As always, go and unlock your full potential. Be the best version of yourself you possibly can be. And we will talk to you next time.